Lyra had always believed she understood the universe. As a young Valari researcher, she had studied hundreds of species, traveled between worlds, and spent long hours inside the glowing learning chambers, where knowledge flowed like gentle light. She thought she had seen everything strange: insects from frozen planets, giant sea creatures from gas-world oceans, and even tiny species that lived inside electrical storms. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared her for the shock she felt the day she read the human reproductive file. It all started on a quiet morning inside the Valari outpost library. Lyra preferred studying early, when the halls were silent and the glowing walls hummed softly. She walked through the long corridor, her skin showing a calm blue shade. Valari's skin changed colors with emotion, and blue meant peace. She carried a stack of datapads against her chest, ready to prepare for the cultural exchange project that would soon begin. She found her usual table in the corner, a smooth, oval piece of living crystal that responded to her touch. She placed her pads down, activated the holographic reader, and began to scroll through alien biology archives. Her assignment was simple: compare Valari reproduction with the reproduction methods of 5 other species. She already had notes on the gentle cloudborn of Aria, who reproduced through pollen-like energy, and the strong but quiet Titan folk, who reproduced by budding small, stone-like children who grew into full beings. The last species she needed to add was humans. Lyra opened the file labeled Human Biological Reproduction, Educational Overview. The first lines were scientific. She relaxed. She expected something calm, gentle, maybe similar to Valari bonding. But as she read deeper, her eyes widened. Her calm blue skin began shifting into bright violet Valari shock. She leaned forward, whispering to herself, "No, this cannot be right. Humans do what?" Her hands trembled as she kept reading. She read slowly, checking every detail twice. Humans used no energy bonding, no calm meditation, no glowing cocoon. The file described physical processes, hormones, pregnancy, biological development, and newborn care. It wasn't inappropriate, but it was extremely different from anything she had learned before, written in plain scientific terms that somehow felt unbelievable to her. She covered her mouth in surprise. Humans really evolved like this? All her life she had thought humans were peaceful and simple in their ways. Humans were emotional, friendly, and curious. She admired that about them. In fact, she liked talking to Ethan, the only human researcher stationed at the outpost. He was patient and gentle, always explaining things in a way she understood. But this human biology? She did not expect something so different. After several minutes of frozen shock, Lyra made a decision. She grabbed the datapad and marched out of the library. Her long steps echoed through the quiet halls. Her skin stayed bright violet. Valari passing by stared, confused. Lyra never lost her calm. She never looked shocked. But today she looked like she had discovered the greatest secret in the universe. She needed to speak to Ethan. She found him in the research room, sitting at a desk covered in tools and glowing screens. He was repairing a small drone that the Valari used to collect samples from dangerous environments. Ethan had his sleeves rolled up, and he hummed softly while working. His calm expression made Lyra pause. She suddenly felt unsure if she should interrupt him. But she couldn't hold her shock inside. She stepped forward and raised the datapad. "Human Ethan, explain this." Ethan froze. He recognized the biology file instantly. His eyes widened, and he slowly set the drone aside. "Oh, you found that," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. "I guess the database didn't filter it out." Lyra's violet color brightened. "Is this true? Humans reproduce like this? Physically? With all these steps? With all these stages?" She shook the pad for emphasis. "Humans really do this?" Ethan sighed. "Yes. Humans evolved that way. It's very normal for us." Lyra blinked and covered her forehead with both hands. It looks so complicated. So much movement. So many stages. She stepped closer, staring at Ethan with wide eyes. How do humans survive such a process? He laughed softly. It's less dramatic than the file makes it seem. Biology files always sound like complicated machines. Oh, but this is nothing like Valari bonding, she insisted. We sit peacefully. We connect energy. We form a cocoon. Everything happens inside the light. No chaos. No danger. Ethan nodded. Different species evolved differently. Humans adapted to survive harsh environments. It shaped our biology. She stared at the floor, thinking deeply. Her color shifting into a thoughtful light blue. She was trying to understand, trying to connect the facts. For her species, reproduction was spiritual and calm. For humans, it was physical, biological, and deeply emotional, something she couldn't fully imagine yet. Then she lifted her head and said a sentence that made Ethan drop his tool. Human Ethan, can I try it? There was silence. A long silence. Ethan's face turned pink. He coughed. Lyra, what do you mean by try? She tilted her head, confused by his reaction. Try means observe, study, experience in a research context. How else would I learn? You know, I like to understand things directly. He closed his eyes and breathed out slowly. She clearly hadn't meant anything inappropriate. For her species, try simply meant to study something closely, participate as an observer, or experience a harmless version of a process. The Valari often used try for meditation techniques, healing rituals, or energy practices. Lyra, he said gently, humans don't try reproduction like an experiment. It's private, emotional. Something connected to trust and deep bonding, not research. Oh. She lowered her head, embarrassed. I did not mean anything strange. I just wanted to learn. I know, he said softly. But Lyra still looked upset, mostly at herself. She didn't like misunderstanding things. She always tried to be respectful, especially with Ethan. She held the pad close and spoke in a small voice. I think I need to understand humans more. I did not realize your species was so different. One. Ethan gave a warm smile. It's all right. Every species has things that surprise others. He pulled out a holographic projector and pressed a button. A soft blue light filled the room, showing a harmless diagram of human development from a single cell to a baby. The diagram was simple and non-graphic, focusing on the growth stages. Lyra watched closely, her eyes wide with interest. This, he said, pointing at the hologram, is the important part. The care, the growth, the connection. Humans take care of their children for many years. It's a long journey. Lyra's color softened. Humans stay connected that long? Very long, he nodded. Family is emotional, not just biological. She touched the hologram gently. This part is beautiful, she whispered. He smiled. Yes. Humans don't think only about the biology. They think about love, safety, and support. Lyra looked at him with new understanding. I thought humans were simple, like small, emotional wanderers. But you are more complex. We're all complex, Ethan said. She nodded slowly. I want to learn more, but correctly. You're doing fine, he assured her. They spent hours talking. Ethan explained humans with calm patience. Lyra compared them with Valari bonding, energy cocoons, and lifelike threads. They found strange similarities in emotions even when the biology was different. Lyra took notes, asked gentle questions, and listened carefully to each answer. By the end of the day, Lyra felt calmer. Her color returned to soft sky blue. Before leaving, she looked at Ethan again. I apologize for my earlier question. No apology needed, he said. It was just a misunderstanding. She placed a hand on her chest, a Valari gesture of respect. Thank you for teaching me. He returned the gesture in a human way, with a small nod. As she walked back to her room, holding the glowing pad, Lyra felt something new. She wasn't just studying humans for a project anymore. She was beginning to understand them truly, their feelings, their choices, their bonds. And somewhere deep inside, she felt a quiet connection forming between her gentle Valari heart and the human who patiently guided her. It was not romance. Not yet. But it was something soft. Something new. Something that made her want to learn more. She whispered to herself, humans are more than their biology. They are their hearts. And for the first time, she looked forward to studying them again tomorrow. Lyra returned to the research room early the next morning, long before the other Valari scholars arrived. She carried 3 datapads this time, all filled with questions she had written during the night. She hadn't been able to sleep properly. Every time she closed her eyes, new thoughts about humans appeared in her mind. She wanted to understand them deeply, not just the biological facts, but the emotional meaning behind them. Humans confused her, surprised her, amazed her. And somehow, Ethan's calm explanations made her want to learn even more. She wasn't sure why, but talking to him felt different now. Easier. Softer. When she reached the door, she found it already open. Ethan was inside, arranging holographic models on the table. He looked up when she walked in, offering a friendly smile. "You're early," he said. Lyra stepped forward, her color a gentle pale blue that meant eagerness. "I have many questions, human Ethan. I want to understand everything clearly." He nodded. She sat down across from him, placing her datapads neatly on the smooth table. The crystals beneath her hands warmed slightly to her touch. Valari technology responded to emotional states, and it could sense her excitement. Ethan tapped one of the holographic panels, and images of human families appeared. Parents holding children, siblings supporting one another, friends treating each other like family. Lyra leaned in, fascinated. "This is the part the biology file never explains," he said. "Human family isn't just a physical process. It's a long emotional bond." Lyra watched as a hologram of a human mother carefully wrapped her newborn child in soft fabric. The baby reached out with tiny hands, and the mother smiled warmly, eyes full of love. Lyra whispered, "This is beautiful." "It is," Ethan said softly. She touched the projection gently. Valari children grew inside glowing cocoons, and when they emerged, they were already strong enough to walk and understand basic energy signals. They did not need to be held. They did not need soft blankets. They did not cling to their parents. Valari parents loved their young, of course, but in a quiet, distant way. The children grew independent very quickly. Human young were completely different, fragile, small, and fully dependent. Watching them stirred something warm in Lyra's chest that she couldn't describe. She turned to Ethan. "Humans must love their young very deeply to take care of them so long." He nodded. "Yes. It creates strong families. It also teaches patience, responsibility, and kindness." Lyra listened carefully. Every word gave her a new way to see humans. She tapped her datapad and displayed one of her questions. "Human, Ethan. Why do humans choose one partner? Why not bond with many, like some alien species?" Ethan chuckled. "Humans can form many friendships, but when it comes to emotional partnership, the deep, life-sharing kind, humans often choose one person to trust and grow with." She tilted her head. "So, humans bond because of emotion, not just biology?" "Exactly," he said. Lyra wrote that down eagerly, her hands moving quickly. She then displayed another question. "Some species bond only for reproduction and nothing else. But humans form families even without that. Why? Add a family. Graph to Wayard, now sighed. Because humans don't start families only for biological reasons, Ethan explained. Humans form families to share life, protect each other, and build trust. Lyra sat back, thinking deeply. So, human reproduction is only one part of the whole connection. Yes, he said with a smile. A small part. Lyra felt relieved. Understanding this made humans seem closer to Valari than she expected. Her own people bonded through energy. But the emotional link was the real strength. Humans were similar, but they expressed it with physical closeness and long-term care. She looked at Ethan again, then hesitated. Human Ethan, she said softly. Yesterday when I said, "Can I try?" I did not understand the emotional meaning humans attach to reproduction. I only saw it as a research experiment. I know, he said kindly. And I'm glad you asked so openly. It helped us understand each other better. His gentle tone made her cheeks warm, a rare emotional reaction for her species. She looked away for a moment, gathering herself. Ethan tapped another control on the projector. A new hologram appeared, showing two humans sitting together on a hill, holding hands as the sun set. There was peace in their faces, not physical closeness, but emotional connection. This, Ethan said, is what humans think of when they talk about partnership or bonding. It's trust, support, comfort, understanding. Lyra gazed at the hologram quietly. This is closer to Valari bonding, she whispered. How so? Ethan asked. When two Valari bond energy, they choose someone they trust completely. The energy threads link their hearts, not just their bodies. For us, bonding is like sharing the deepest part of our spirit. Ethan listened attentively. That sounds beautiful. Maybe our two species are not so different after all, she said softly. He nodded. Different biology, similar hearts. She smiled at that. They continued their discussion for a long time. Lyra asked questions about human emotions, how humans show affection, how they build trust, how they recover from loss. Ethan answered with careful detail, speaking slowly so she could understand. He used examples from Earth history, holographic memories from his family, and stories he had learned from other humans. When he described how humans comfort each other by giving warm hugs, Lyra felt deeply curious. Valari did not touch much. They communicated feelings through color changes and energy waves. The idea of a comforting physical embrace was new and strange, but somehow it sounded gentle, not chaotic like she imagined. She asked, "Why do humans touch so much?" He smiled. Touch communicates emotion for humans. It makes us feel safe, accepted, and understood. Valari do not need touch to feel safe, she said, but somehow humans make it look meaningful. It is meaningful, Ethan replied. It makes families strong. She took notes again, her mind full of new ideas. As they continued, they got so absorbed in conversation that they didn't notice the outpost lights shifting to the midday brightness. They lost track of time completely. For Lyra, hours felt like minutes. Eventually, Ethan stood and said, "Let's take a break. The gardens outside look peaceful today. Maybe fresh air will help you process all this." Lyra nodded. She didn't want to leave the discussion, but she trusted Ethan's advice. They walked through the crystalline hallways to the outer garden. The Valari world was a beautiful place, glowing trees, soft blue grasses, and floating petals that drifted like tiny lights. Lyra breathed in deeply, feeling calmer. Ethan looked amazed. "I never get used to how beautiful this place is." Lyra smiled shyly. "I feel the same about Earth when you show me your memories." They walked slowly, side by side, in comfortable silence. The garden lights reflected softly on their faces. Finally, Lyra spoke again. "Human Ethan, thank you." "For what?" he asked gently. For explaining everything, she said. For being patient. For not laughing at my misunderstanding. I want you to know, I respect your species more now than ever. Ethan looked touched. I respect the Valari too, especially you. Her color warmed into a gentle rose shade of Valari emotion that meant quiet happiness. She lowered her voice. Can I ask something? Personal? Kend. Yes, he answered. When humans choose a partner, do they choose because of biology or because of heart? Heart, Ethan said without hesitation. Always heart. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment. That answer meant more to her than she expected. She looked at him again and whispered, Then humans are far more beautiful than I realized. Ethan's expression softened. And you understand them more deeply than most aliens ever do. They walked on, their steps matching naturally, their pace slow and peaceful. In that moment, Lyra realized she wasn't studying humans anymore. She was understanding them truly, completely, emotionally. And without meaning to, she was understanding Ethan as well. She had never bonded with a human energy before. But something inside her felt warm and steady, like a gentle thread forming quietly between them. She didn't say it aloud. She wasn't ready yet. But the feeling stayed with her. As the soft Valari breeze passed through the glowing trees, Lyra whispered to herself, Humans are different. But humans are wonderful. And the warm feeling inside her only grew stronger. The following morning, the Valari outpost felt unusually bright. Even the walls seemed to glow a little more warmly than usual. Lyra walked down the corridor with a calm, steady color on her skin, a soft sky blue mixed with a gentle silver. It was the Valari shade of quiet confidence. She held her data pads close to her chest as she headed toward the cultural hall. Today, the Valari Council would review her research on human family formation. She had spent the entire night improving the project, adding new sections based on everything Ethan had taught her. She felt nervous, but in an excited way. For the first time, she felt like she truly understood humans, not just from scientific files but from real conversation and emotional depth. When she entered the cultural hall, she found Ethan already there waiting. You're early, she said softly. He smiled. I wanted to see how you were feeling before the presentation. I am ready, she said, though a small tremor ran through her voice. But I hope the council understands. Humans and Valari are very different. I want to explain that in a peaceful way. They'll understand, Ethan said. Your work is thoughtful, and you're an excellent communicator. She appreciated the encouraging words more than she could express. Humans didn't show emotions through color, but Ethan's eyes had a kind way of shining when he said something supportive. She had learned to recognize that. Soon, the council members arrived, tall Valari elders with shimmering skin and calm, focused expressions. They sat around the curved crystal table, waiting patiently as Lyra prepared her holographic display. Ethan stepped back, letting her present alone. Lyra activated the projector. A soft blue light filled the hall, displaying images she had collected. Human families laughing together. Humans comforting children. Humans sharing meals. Humans working as teams. She had selected scenes that showed trust, support, and connection. She began speaking in a clear voice. Honored Council, she said, bowing slightly. Today I present my study of human family formation. At first, I believed humans were chaotic and unpredictable. Their biology shocked me. But I discovered something deeper. Humans form families not only to reproduce, but to protect, teach, and share life with one another. The council listened with calm interest, their colors shifting thoughtfully. Lyra continued, speaking slowly so each word felt meaningful. Humans care for their young for many years. They give physical warmth, emotional comfort, and constant guidance. Their families are built on responsibility and love. She showed holograms of human parents teaching children to walk, to speak, and to explore. The images touched her more now than when she first watched them. She added, "Humans also choose partners based on trust and emotion. Their partnerships last long because they are built on support, not just biology." Ethan watched from the side, impressed by her confidence. Lyra went on. "Valari children grow inside energy cocoons and emerge with strength. Humans grow inside their mother's body and are born small and fragile. Because of this, humans build deep bonds early. It teaches them kindness, patience, and unity." She paused, letting the council absorb her words. Then she showed the final hologram. A scene of two humans watching a sunset together, holding hands. Lyra spoke softly. "Humans do not only survive through biology, they survive through connection. Their hearts choose their family as much as their bodies do. That is what makes them unique." When she finished, she bowed respectfully and stepped back. Silence followed, not a cold silence, but a thoughtful one. The council members exchanged calm glances. Their skin shimmered with soft colors that showed interest, appreciation, and understanding. Finally, the oldest council member spoke. "Lyra of the Crystal Wing, your work is exceptional. You have shown wisdom beyond simple research. You have looked into the heart of another species." Another counselor added, "Humans were once misunderstood by many Valari. Your project helps bridge that gap." A third counselor said, "This will be stored in the Knowledge Vault as an official study. You have improved interspecies understanding. This will be stored 200 Sion. This will be stored." Lyra felt her chest grow warm with pride. Her color shimmered with silver and blue joy and relief. When the meeting ended, Ethan stepped beside her. "You did it," he said with a big smile. "I could not have done it without your help," she replied. "You did all the work. I just explained things," he said. She looked down, her color shifting bashfully. "Your explanations meant a lot to me." They left the cultural hall together, walking slowly as the glowing corridors reflected soft light around them. "Where would you like to go now?" Ethan asked. Lyra thought for a moment. "The Crystal Gardens," she said. "I want to breathe fresh air." They went outside into the vast garden filled with glowing plants and floating petals. The scenery looked like a soft painting of light. They walked between tall crystal trees, where insects shimmered like tiny sparks. Lyra took a deep breath. "I feel lighter now," she said, "like a heavy cloud has passed." "You deserve that feeling," Ethan said warmly. They reached a quiet bench made from polished crystal. They sat side by side, not touching, just close enough to share the peaceful air. Lyra's skin glowed a soft shade of light rose, the color of gentle happiness. She turned to Ethan. "I want to tell you something." "I'm listening," he said. "When I first read the human biology file, I was shocked. I thought humans were too different from Valari. I even said something foolish." Her color pulsed slightly. "But you were patient with me. You helped me understand your species correctly." "You weren't foolish," Ethan said calmly. "You were curious. Curiosity leads to understanding." She smiled. "Yes. And now I understand that humans are not simple or chaotic. They are warm, emotional, caring. Their hearts bond before anything else." Ethan smiled back. "I'm glad you see humans that way." Lyra lowered her voice. "I also learned something about myself. When I learn from you, Ethan, I feel calm. I feel trust. Valari bonding starts with trust. Even if we do not use touch or physical closeness, trust is the deepest part." Ethan listened carefully. "I feel the same. Talking to you feels peaceful." Her cheeks warmed with a rosy glow. "I never thought I would feel so connected with someone from another species. But I do." Ethan smiled gently. Understanding builds connection. You understand me. I understand you. They looked out at the glowing garden. A soft breeze blew through the crystal leaves, making gentle chimes ring around them. Lyra asked quietly, "Do humans choose friends the same way they choose partners? With trust and connection?" "Yes," Ethan said. "Strong friendship is like the foundation of everything." Lyra nodded slowly. "Then I am happy. Because you are the first human I have ever trusted this deeply." Ethan felt warmth in his chest at those words. "And you are the first Valari I've ever connected with like this." They didn't need to say anything else. The silence between them felt warm, not empty. Their understanding was enough. After a long moment, Lyra placed her hand gently on her chest, a Valari sign of deep respect. "Ethan, thank you. For everything. For your patience. For your kindness." Ethan quietly mirrored her gesture in a human way, placing his hand over his heart. "Thank you, Lyra. For wanting to understand humans. For seeing us clearly." They walked again through the garden, their steps matching naturally, as if they had walked together for years. The bond between them grew stronger, gentle, emotional, innocent, not romantic, not physical, just pure trust. As the twin moons rose over the glowing Valari sky, Lyra whispered softly to the wind, "Humans are different, but they are wonderful." Ethan heard her and smiled. And together, they continued walking, two beings from two very different worlds, connected by understanding.